Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiemon and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi no Ko episode 4. So, what did I think about this week's episode? I think this week's episode was great, and I thought we got a lot of Kana and, a lot of development with her and, a lot of backstory. And I'm starting to really enjoy her character, as well as I would go as far as to say that she is probably my favorite character in the series so far, alongside Aqua, because we also got a lot of new developments with Aqua and his whole journey about finding who the killer of, his mother Ai was. Now, before I get any further, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Oshi no Ko, as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So pretty much this week's episode picks up where we left off in last week's, which is pretty much that, Aqua and Kana, they're shooting their scene for the finale of their series that they're, producing. And you see that pretty much it's starting to rain, how the puddles everywhere, and Aqua starts calculating all like pretty much how this could benefit him. Like, actually the puddles and why it started raining on set could actually benefit him in the long run. And we also get to see a lot of, character development with Kana, and how, pretty much what happened to her after what we saw in the prologue with her and Aqua, which is that her career kind of went down the hill because she was known as a spoiled brat, and she kind of was sought after as a washed up actress. And you see how much she didn't stop pursuing her dream, and how she kept grinding. And I thought that was great. We got to see a lot of things that Kana that we hadn't seen before. Like, if you go for how she used to be in the first episode to how she is now, you get to see a huge development in her. And I think she's grown up to be a very successful actress when it comes to her craft, as in the sense of she is a very well received actress. Maybe she doesn't get the best roles, but she is a very competent actress. And I think going forward in the story, we're going to see how much she can grow, as well as her success as well increase, because in this week's episode we see that she really gave it her all, and thanks to Aqua, if anything, because Aqua planted the seeds for this to happen. Because when it came down to shooting the scene about the stalker, she really gave her the best performance that she probably has given in her entire life. And it was thanks to Aqua, because Aqua had set it up so the puddles, that amplify, the sound and made the scene feel more realistic, as well as Aqua was, infuriating the co-star, the male lead actor, because we knew that he wasn't a great actor from what we saw last week's episode. And Aqua really, intensify his performance by actually getting him upset, by actually dissing him, which then caused him to punch Aqua in the face. And that actually amplified the performance of both himself and Aqua, because Aqua was actually acting pretty crazy too. He was in character, and that all build up to Kana's big moment where she just knocks it out of the park. She gives probably the best performance of her life, and you just see her tears everywhere. And once again she feels like, what, maybe I should give it my all, because she was contemplating like, what, I'm doing the bare minimum when it comes to this show, because it's nothing great, it's nothing, it's not gonna get me an Oscar. But after this episode, I think that she's really gonna be giving it her all once again, because she's really pursuing her dream now, because she knows that she can make it, because she knows she has the talent. She just needs to pursue it farther. And I think that this episode sets up that perfectly in the future. And what happens after all this is that, they shoot the scene, it's perfect. Kana compliments Aqua, and Aqua just, he's just nonchalant, like typical Aqua behavior. And what we see is that then we cut to the mangaka that wrote the story. And you see that she's with her assistants, and we see that herself and the assistants, they're discussing about the show, and because the mangaka is actually watching the show, and the assistants are kind of giving her a hard time, because they're like, you actually watching that crap? Because like, that show sucks. Like this, like seriously, I can't believe you even signed up on it. Like, I can't believe that you gave the rights for them to make this show. And she goes on to say like, what, it might not be the greatest, but I like to see my art being, fully, in movement, because that's a difference between translating manga to live action, which is that you see the fluidity, or as well as animation too, you get to see the work move. And she said that it might not be the greatest, but she still appreciates that her love can be spread out when it comes to her craft. And what we see is that eventually she was watching the episode where Kana gave it her all, and we see that she gets to the part where Kana cries, and the mangaka starts just crying herself too, because she thinks the scene was amazing and she nailed it out of the park. And that was the most important scene in that manga, not just to the mangaka herself, but also what Kana and the entire fan base of that particular story, they all agree that that finale is the most important part of the story. So knowing that Kana knocked it out of the park, it gave tears to the mangaka's eyes. And I must feel that, because she herself was the writer, so seeing something that she came up with herself, and being able to see actors perform that scene and bring it to life, I think she got emotional. I can understand why. She really cared about her craft, and I'm glad that she enjoys at least the finale of it. Then we cut to pretty much a celebration. The entire cast of the show, they're celebrating, they're chit-chatting and why not, and the mangaka's there, and she bumped into Kana, and Kana's like, oh, hi sensei, like, how you doing? And the mangaka just bows to her, and she's like, what, the show, you were the best part of the show, you carried that show, girl. And she bows to her, and Kana feels like all this pressure being relieved, because she knows that she lived up to her part. And that was an incredible moment for her, because she knows that coming from the author herself, she said, you knocked out you knocked the scene out of the park. So that's the biggest compliment you can get, honestly. And not just that, we also get developments of what Aqua is doing, because we see that he bumps into the producer that he thought was his father, and we get in this week's episode confirmation that that guy is actually not Aqua's father. And instead we find out that he was actually helping Ai behind the scenes meet up a boy. And Aqua's like, wait, like, he starts picking everything together. He's like, wait, you knew that she was talking to a guy? And he's like, yeah, I do. It's like, okay, tell me about it. And then the guy's like, why, are you like a big fan or something? He's like, I just want to know. And then the guy says, okay, one condition, I'll tell you who the guy was if you start in my reality show. So Aqua, he's in a big can of worms right now. Like, but he's gonna pull through it, because he'll do anything to find who murdered his mom. And I appreciate his conviction and how devoted he is to finding who the killer of his mother is. So then we cut to Kana actually giving Ruby and Aqua a tour of the school that they're attending now, because they all qualified to that school. And she's just telling them, like, yeah, everybody here is pretty famous. And you see some little fun moments where Ruby meets a friend, and she's like, oh my god, you're a model, like, that's great. And eventually you find out that there's this big a big star called Frill, or I believe that's her name, and this is a big character that Ruby is a fan of, and she starts just like simping for her, in other words. And you see Aqua's like thinking, like, okay, like, I could probably get some information from her, at least in some regard, because I know Aqua's like always thinking 2 steps ahead, so I'm sure that he's plotting something in just being able to talk to her, because she probably will get intel about like the higher ups in the industry. And that's my theory of what Aqua might be doing with that character in the future. But what comes up about it is because they're all saying, like, oh my god, you're actors. And Aqua's like, yeah, I'm an actor. And then you see Kana, she's like, yeah, I'm an actress too. And then she's like, she asks Ruby's like, hey, what about yourself? It's like, oh, I got nothing going on. So then Ruby goes straight to their mom/manager and keeps telling her, like, oh my god, why can't I get like an idol group? I want to be famous too. And the mom's pretty much like, yeah, well, I guess it's not that easy, dude. Like, I gotta find girls that are, they're not only just pretty, but they're also very like, they can perform and also sing. And Aqua then comes up with the bright ideas, like, well, when it comes to a pretty girl like that has a lot of skills and she's a freelancer as well, I know somebody. And then we see it's Kana. So right now we get to see the formation, I'm guessing, of the idol group. And I'm very surprised that Kana is actually going to be part of this group, at least from what we think might happen in the future, because I thought that Kana was going to be doing her own thing. But if this boosts her career as an actor as well, then that's great for her. But I thought it was pretty funny, the fact that Aqua did say that Kana has a cute face, so there might be a little bit of hinting about a little romance going down in the near future. But with that being said, I thought this episode was great, and I can't wait to see what happens going forward, because I'm enjoying the series so far, and I'm looking forward to see where the story takes us from now. But with that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys think it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.